What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hands-On channel. I wanted to show you guys around here today at what I've been working on for the past week or so. This is why you haven't heard a whole lot from me. I've been really busy, been putting the Mahindra to use. It's really the first big dirt work project that I've done, but I want to show you this because I'm pretty proud of my work, especially considering this is the first time that I've really done any box blading or front end loader work with Mahindra. So it worked out great, man. I mean, the thing is a beast. So let me flip you around here and you guys can see what I've been working on. Get back far enough where I can see what I'm filming here. But anyway, next to my shop here, we had this shop built back in like 2014, 2015. But the dirt work over here was the hill, it comes down like right here. And it came all the way over to this part right here. So my drainage was very close. So I widened this up about, I don't know, 15 feet, I guess. And I flattened it out so that any water that comes down the hill over here will hit and come down and stay away from my shop. And also this gives me the ability in the future to add on possibly like a carport right over here or a lean-to, whatever you want to call it. So that's the plan. That's long term. I'm not going to get that done this year because I'm just running out of time, man. I mean, with everything going on and the crazy nature of our world, I just barely have time to get my stuff done. So that's why I haven't made a video. A lot of people have been asking, hey, where are you? When's your next video? Well, this is it because this is what I've been working on. So I wanted to show you guys around at several of the projects that I've got going on. And back here in the back, it was even worse, man. The drainage was like within 6 feet of the shop. It was actually about 3 feet away. And I had to cut this big oak tree down. I really didn't want to, but it was right in the way of my dirt work here. So I took, I mean, I don't know, several dump truck loads and I moved it from here on around and I sculpted the drainage the way I want it to go. So I had to take my rain catch down over here. That was unfortunate. And I think I'm going to end up putting it on the other side because it makes more sense. We need water over there more than we need it here. I've still got some work to do around this stump. Haven't decided exactly how I'm going to deal with that yet. When I was cutting it down and I realized it was hollow, I made a plunge cut down here at the bottom. My intention is to turn it into a type of like a Swedish fire torch and maybe do a little outdoor cooking on top of it or whatever. Although my cut is a little bit of an angle, I could probably flatten that out a little better if I made another cut on it. But anyway, got that big oak down. And so that's what I've been up to, guys. I mean, I have been cutting wood, hurting my back, on and on. Here's the firewood from that oak. Now, it's not split yet. I just put it up in big rounds, but you can see a lot of it's hollow. So I've got that stacked up and set aside. And this stuff over here, I've actually been shopping for a, what do they call them? Chipper shredder. I'm trying to find a chipper shredder, and unfortunately I can't afford the 3-point type that goes on your PTO because everybody wants like, you know, $1,500 for those and up. So I'm looking at the other type that have, you know, they're just kind of, they have their own little small engine, like a 5 to 10 horsepower, sometimes 15 horsepower engine, and they'll chip from anywhere from 2 to 4 inches, they claim. So I'm looking around at those, but the problem is, just like everything else, the markets have been flooded with these cheap Chinese, you know, Amazon chipper shredders, and I'm hesitant to buy something like that I'm not going to be able to get parts for in the future. Here's some of my other older projects. I got these crates years and years ago from my buddy when he was working at a different company. And we were using them as crates for shipping stuff just around and storing stuff in, but they've started deteriorating. So I'm trying to salvage the boards off of those, and I can use those for projects in the future. Over here, behind my little pine straw rake, the thing with wheels on it there, I've got a junk pile that I've been putting together. I need to make a run, get rid of some stuff for scrap metal and stuff like that. That 82, I think it's an 82, 81 or 82 Chevy, that white Chevy pickup over there, the body on it's really nice. The worst part about it is the bottoms of the doors. So I've been kind of looking around for another pair of doors that I could put on. It'd be really nice if I could find some white ones, but I doubt I'm going to get that lucky. But anyway, that thing is kind of on the back burner, but it's getting close. I'd like to have it in my shop ready for you know, disassembly. I'm gonna have to pull the motor out of it. It's got a knock of some kind. I think I'm gonna have to pull the motor. One thing that I haven't done yet is I think I'm gonna disconnect the transmission. Usually I pull the engine and transmission at the same time, but I think in this specific case, I'm gonna disconnect the transmission from the flywheel and slide everything back, the torque converter, all that stuff. I'm gonna slide it back and leave the flywheel on the engine and the starter on the engine so that I can start the engine without the transmission connected, because there is a chance that I've got a cracked flex plate. So that can make a similar sort of a sound as a knocking engine. So that's why I haven't really just rushed to pull the engine out of it yet. I'm like, man, I need to get it in my shop where I can separate stuff and look in there. I've looked up in there. I couldn't see, you know, a visible crack. But I couldn't tell either. I had my wife start it up while I was laying underneath it, and I couldn't tell if it was coming from the bottom end or if it was coming from the flex plate. So everything looked good, but again, until you pull it all the way out, a lot of times those old Chevy flex plates, they'll break around the center, and they might not completely break. They'll just crack like 3/4 of the way around, and then whenever it's under certain RPMs, it'll knock and tick and clack and stuff. So it's just a really weird deal. And if I have to, I have another engine in the shop that I can put in there, but I don't want to change an engine out unless it needs to be changed out. So anyway, I've just got a lot of irons in the fire, and I need to mow. Actually, this side doesn't look too bad, but the other side, where my house sits down the hill, it's really thick down there. My black Chevy truck there, I had to do something to it recently. What in the heck was it? I do so many things and I'm going so many different directions, I can barely remember anymore what in the hell I just did. Something was up with it. I know the AC was acting up, and I can't remember if I had to put a water pump on it or something like that. I don't recall. It's been a week or two. Speaking of water pumps, Brutus Maximus, my flatbed Chevy down there, I'm working on putting some stake side beds on it. You can see the vertical supports there that I've stuck in there just out of 2x4, and I need to go ahead and get some other 2x4s and run them this way or whatever. The reason I stopped on that project is I started pricing out carriage bolts, and I was like, holy shit, carriage bolts are like ridiculously expensive. So I was trying to see if I could find some used ones or dig around my shop and find some or whatever, but just, you know, in Biden's America, everything is extremely expensive now. So things that you used to do and you think it'd be no big deal, now it's a big deal. So I kind of got that on the back burner, but also the water pump went out on it. So I'm going to definitely have to put a water pump in that brown Chevy. It's got a 454. If it was a 350, I would have a water pump because I have some extra parts for 350s around. I've still got a mystery with my Suburban. I can't figure it out. The White Buffalo. It's a great truck, except for this. For some reason, I'm getting a weird vibration at like, let's say 68 miles an hour to about 83. If I go faster, like if I go 85 in it, not that I would recommend that because that's illegal in most states, but anyway, if I go 85, theoretically, then the vibration goes away, right? Oh, there's a wasp buzzing us right there. Hey, don't sting me. Remember, we have a deal. But anyway, if I'm driving down the highway at like 68 to, you know, let's say 78, 80 miles an hour, I'm getting this weird resonant vibration, and I can't figure it out. I've looked at the tires. I took them to the shop, had them rebalanced. They don't look bad, but I kind of suspect that I might have an outer round tire, or maybe it's a shock absorber issue, and like one of my rear shock absorbers is just letting it bounce like crazy on the highway at those certain speeds, but I can't figure it out. You don't feel anything when you're driving really slow, so I don't know. You can just barely see it, but my old 72 Monte Carlo's back there behind Brutus Maximus, and I do want to work on that, but again, it's just one of those things. I've got so many projects going that it's hard for me to do it. And then my buddy just called me again today and said he had a whole nother load of these pallets. But look, guys, these are just the ones that I haven't broken down. I've probably broken down twice this many and kept the 2x4s, and I've got a whole bunch of 10-foot plus 2x4s over at my new property for building projects. But I didn't really want to break them all down because they're structurally sound. I could make walls out of these things, you know. So I'm planning on doing some of that in the future, and looking forward to making a build series for it. But the problem that I'm running into is that I don't want to build it just on dirt. You know, I want to build an actual foundation, and the expense and finding the right place to build it, to set it up, that's been my problem. But I've got a ton of these right here. I did an estimate the other day, and I had enough to do like 100 foot of wall or something like that if I just stand these up like this and bolt them down to the floor, you know, bolt them down to a sill plate, and then put a standard top plate on top of them, you know, a double top plate on top of them. I could make them, you know, 10 foot tall. That's how long the pallets are. And so some of them are triple, what I call triple, like this one here. You can see it has 3 studs that run the whole length of it. Now these are like 3x4 posts or something like that. So some of them have solid posts on them, and others have double 2x4s. So the double 2x4s, I've mostly been breaking down and keeping the 2x4s, because again, everything's so damned expensive now. 2x4s are worth their weight in gold. So guys, I just wanted to make a fairly quick one here and let you know what I've been up to. We'll walk around here and I'll show you the other side. We've been planting grass. We've got, hopefully you can see it there, I've got some grass coming up, little sprigs. We're hoping to beat winter time and get some grass, some ground cover on here. The reason I had to wait so late in the year to do this, I planned on doing it around July, or you know, early September. But the reason I had to wait is it's been so damned wet here. It's been raining so much that I was afraid I was going to make a big mud hole. So I had to wait for some drier weather. But yeah, man, the Mahindra just did a fantastic job. And you can see what I did here. There was a low spot right here. So I carried that dirt around and I built it up right here. And I'm kind of making a nice wide low spot there to where hopefully it won't erode. You know, it just kind of depends on what Mother Nature does between now and then. But down there where I've got that wheelbarrow, I kind of want the water to come around this way. Before it was just shooting straight down the hill. So what I'm trying to do is get the water to kind of go around this way where it'll water all these trees over here and then shoot down to the ditch. That way I'm collecting more of the water into my soil before it just leaves. It's a constant battle with these pine trees. While they may look beautiful on camera, and they look pretty good right now from this side, if I showed you the north side, I mean, it's shameful. They get wiped out every winter, and there'll be limbs down all over the place. So that's why with this many pines, I need a chipper shredder, and that's not all of them. We counted it up one time. We got like 38 or 40 pine trees on this property. But yeah, before, this high area right here was way back here, and I only had just a little bit of drainage right here. Now I've got a nice wide spot, and what that gives me the ability to do is, once this is established with grass or gravel or whatever I'm going to do, I'll be able to park one of my projects over here. So maybe I want to put the Monte Carlo over here, or I want to put that white truck over here where my neighbors don't have to look at it as much. I mean, this guy here will see it, but it's kind of down, you know, it'll be somewhat camouflaged, and I could plant some bushes or put another row of, stacked firewood there and block some of that off. I'm planning on reinstalling my water catch on this side because this is farther away from our well, and it actually would make more sense to have it over here versus where we had it before on the opposite side. So just been hard at it, guys. That's what we've been up to. And you can see I've just been on that tractor probably about minimum 5 hours a day for the last 4 or 5 days. So that's the life, trying to get everything up to snuff. I don't know what the future holds for this property. My long-term plan is to move over to the 100 acres and live on my big piece of land with a nice house there. But you know, I have to build all that stuff first before that happens. So anyway, that's what we've been up to. And I didn't even really talk about phase 1 of the project, but the project here, I scooped a lot of that dirt from that side down this hill, and I built it up right here because it was kind of steep when you would pull into the shop before. And so I wanted to flatten that out a little bit. Not completely, but just a little bit. And my wife turns around all the time right here. She'll back up right there. And so she was kind of wearing a groove in there and wearing it down. But the Mahindra tractor's holding up well. Got the 6-foot box blade on it right now. And, you know, I was talking to my father-in-law the other day about it. And this is actually his box blade. But I was talking to him about it the other day. And he's like, you know, he acted like he didn't really understand how to set it up. And that's nothing against him. He didn't grow up on a farm, but neither did I. But at least I've watched a few videos of how to set it up. And I was thinking, you know, maybe I'll do a little tutorial, you know, just a quick 5 or 10 minute video on how to run a box blade for the different purposes what you can do with it. I mean, because there's all kinds of things you can do. You can angle it this way. You can angle it front to back for a different amount of cut and stuff like that. I mean, it's not really super complex. I think most people could figure it out, but I was really surprised that my father-in-law didn't know some of that stuff. And it was just, again, it's nothing against him. He's just never done it. But I've been using some diesel, obviously, but the Mahindra actually did quite well. I only used around 7 or 8 gallons for that whole project. I've got my wife actually got this for me, one of these Safety Sally cans. And when I first saw it, I was like, oh man, this sucks. What is this? Send it back. But then I started looking into what it does, and it's pretty cool. Now I've had to make a couple of modifications to it, but this thing swings down, and as you can see, I've written diesel on there. And the reason why is because one of my complaints about the Mahindra is you have to fill it from up top. Yeah, excuse my mess. I've got projects everywhere. So you have to fill it from up top. And when you're holding a 5-gallon gas can up and you don't have a whole lot of foot space to stand on, you're standing on one leg trying to hold a 5-gallon gas can up and pour it in there, right, without spilling it all over your tractor. So anyway, what I do is I pour it out of the 5-gallon can into the smaller one, and then it's easier for me to manage that. And so that's worked out well. And it's clean. You just flip this thing down and you hit this button here, and that allows the vacuum to allow fuel pressure to go out. Now, one thing I didn't like about it, this lid here was fixed on, and so I had to take that loose so that I'll be able to unscrew this and not have to mess with this part of it here. But so far, that's helped me out quite a bit. Let's see, other projects. Got tons of other projects. I've got a brand new Echo pole saw down here on the floor that I've been meaning to do a review video on because I really like the thing. But I just haven't had time. But yeah, Mahindra doing an outstanding job. It's a beast of a tractor. Another project I got going on the back burner here. I bought this used set of pipes. It's a set of Vance & Hines Big Shots, I think they're called. And what I like about them is it's a 2-into-2, but it has a crossover right here. And the guy I bought it from wrapped them with header wrap. So I could put them on like that, but I'll probably go ahead and put the chrome, the heat shields on, because I get tired of burning my pant leg on my motorcycle. But yeah, there's the Echo down there. Another project on the back burner here, as you can see, my wife's Kawasaki. Haven't had a chance to pull the carbs back off yet. I've had so many irons in the fire that I haven't had time to do that sort of stuff. So my saw is back there, barely get to use it because it's buried. You know, I need to get it out of there and put that thing to use. But yeah, here's some of my 2x4s that we've been collecting, and 4x4 posts that we've been collecting off the pallets. And there's a whole nother stack of them over there under the tractor. I'm just trying to keep them out of the weather. This is a little cabinet set that my wife bought. It's really cool, but it needs to be restored. So that's something else that I need to do that and get that out of my shop before I bring in that white Chevy for repairs. So anyway, 1,000,001 projects. My wife comes across stuff like this sometimes, and she'll snap it up and bring it home. We'll use it for something. If nothing else, it's a good little mobile table. More pallet wood that I'm stacking up over here. Just so many projects, man. I mean, I wake up most days and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do today? And then I end up doing 10,000 things. And the next day I forget what I've done the day before. So, I mean, I guess that's the life of a homesteader prepper. And every day I wake up and get to breathe air is a good day. So guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Let me know what kind of projects you guys are working on around your homestead. I think it's good to just talk about some of this kind of stuff instead of the doom and gloom all the time. This is what I'm doing when I'm working for myself. I'm not working for anybody else. I'm doing all this on my own. Now, yeah, it takes a lot of equipment. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of maintenance. It takes a lot of work. And you got to be willing to do that sort of work, at least in my opinion, if you're going to live this lifestyle and be a poor boy. Now, if you're rich, you just go buy new stuff, right? But I'm not rich, so that's why I have all these old Chevy trucks and these projects, because they ain't making them like that anymore. And one of these days, you're not going to be able to even buy a vehicle that's not tracked or, you know, monitored in some way, or have some sort of kill switch where the government will control you, or they could control you. So those are the things I'm working on. Hope you guys are doing well and preparing yourself for what we all know is coming. Anyway, as always, I stand for liberty to the bitter end. I hope you do too.